Hello, my name is Anjani, and here is your astrology chart. So we start off by looking at this circle here representing Earth, this X in the center representing you on Earth. And this is a map of the sky from the Earth's perspective the moment you were born. This outer circle is a map of the sky today, so we can get some ideas about initiation cycles that you're in, planetary influences that you may be feeling, and we can find out some ways to work with the things that are up and what's going on. So I want to start by, well, first let's call in sacred space. So opening up the spine at the crown of the head, the base of the spine, just opening that, fully connecting with the mysteries of the sky above and connecting with our ancestors and our lineage, the tribes we come from, the lands that we come from, and following that connection through the earth to the non-local source of our collective ancestors. And then I like to call in the elements of earth for groundedness, that stability and support while we are both exploring this new territory. Water for clean, clear, emotional currency. And honoring that water, sometimes it's not clean and clear emotion. Sometimes we have this, other tidal waves that, just honoring water in all its expressions. And air for that breath of inspiration that connects us to every other being, and also the insights that divine breath can carry. I'd like to call in fire for that divine fire, the inspiration that gets us to take action, that motivation and movement of energy that is hot and powerful. Also want to call in Sagittarius as a teacher, Neptune as a teacher, and just really like to give thanks and honoring our ancestors, the ancient Babylonians, the ancient Egyptians, and all along the area of our earth that the ancient people have honored the sky and the mysteries of the above and made it available to us and kept track of time in their own unique ways. The Mayans for that beautiful calendar, the Hawaiians for their night sky navigation and blanket statement, all of our collective ancestors. So also like to call in my higher self, your higher self. Call in whatever you want to have in to be part of this experience, this time with looking at your chart and connecting with this very, very potent map that we have of the sky the moment you were born. So over here on the ascendant, you have Neptune and Jupiter as some of your main teachers. We can see Mars there too, but this is something that just caught my eye instantly. Like when Jupiter is on the ascendant, it's automatically makes it super big, blows it up. Jupiter represents our inner guru, our inner philosopher, the thing that is, our connection to the teacher or the guru, and that's on your ascendant. And the thing is that your rising sign is Sagittarius, which is most like Jupiter, in that Sagittarius is here to be in service to spirit through truth. The main thing Sagittarius rising wants to learn about is how can I embody truth? What is truth? How can I embody it? And it's on a quest. It's constantly questing for truth and evolution. So I want to start out, that was a little preamble because it's just something so dramatic with Jupiter on the ascendant, and we'll bring in Neptune as we get more into it. So let's look at your moon. The lineage can be sort of felt into and understood as much as we can understand something like this. And let me just speak a little bit about that. This is not meant to make us understand something, because it's a mystery. We are a mystery. We're so complex. And I feel like it's meant to remain a mystery, and for us to keep exploring this mystery and to understand more about ourselves in relationship with the sky, relationship with the earth, and how can we continually grow, and what is it for us individually, like what is ascension to each person. It's a little bit different. So let's look at the moon. The moon gives us ideas about your lineage, you can say past lives. I like to think about it as a skill set that we're naturally born with. So you have Pisces moon, and you also have Pallas Athena right next to the moon. So first, let's talk about Pisces moon. This is going to be the person. So let's talk about it like a tribe. The tribe of Pisces is the group of healers, empaths, psychics. This is the bodhisattva, those ones who are here to be in service to spirit through infinite love, compassion. As a Pisces moon child being brought into, you were born in Dallas, Texas. So whatever the environment is, like you get a body, you come from this deep sea of consciousness. Pisces fish, I feel like that fish represents the ocean of infinite depth consciousness, and maybe even the collective consciousness overall. So getting into a physical body and then feeling empathically, being so connected to those threads or golden cords, or however you experience that net that holds everything in the universe together. Pisces moon is so in tune with that. They literally are feeling everything. They're feeling everything, sensing everything, just so sensitive. And within a family, or within that first unit, the Pisces moon person, it's not even a thought about it. It's just instant that we want to help and heal. And not so much because, part of it is because, oh, I care about this person. I want them to feel better. I want to help you. I want to heal you. As much as it is that I feel this. I feel this unspoken sentence. I feel this unspoken vibe, and I want to make it better. So sort of going out of itself, of your own way, to be in service through sharing love and compassion with those around you. So that's the Pisces moon. Now let's look at Pallas Athena, because you were born with Athena right next to your moon. So we have this imagery of that child who is sensitive, intuitive, loving, universally loving, wanting to help and heal the sick puppy on the side of the road, and the bird that has its wing kind of injured, and being like, oh my God, the lizard's tail came off. I don't know how much of that you found in Dallas, Texas. I feel like there's a good amount of nature out there. And feeling really like so much wanting to help and heal the wounds and the sufferings of all beings. And there's a level of also being connected deeply to the ecstasy, joy, and bliss of all beings too. So I don't want to leave out that part of the Pisces moon talents and innate gifts. Let's look at Pallas Athena being right there. So Pallas Athena is the form of the feminine that was born from Zeus's head. And she was born in full armor, ready to go to war. And we think of her as sort of a man's woman, and not in any sense that she belongs to him, but that she can be in a group of guys and totally fit in. It's, in high school, dating and things, it's like, we don't want to go out with our boyfriends if they're only with guys. But with Pallas Athena next to your moon, it kind of cancels that out. It's like you can totally get in with the guys and you're intelligent and sharing intellectual information, and totally can vibe on this level of intelligence, and there's like this badass, fierce vibe with Pallas Athena that instantly relates to the general population of men. And in the earlier times, that's really what we were focusing on our men being, is intelligent, brave, strong, all of that. So it's changing now. It's definitely changing, and we're accepting, including more forms of this. But so Pallas Athena next to the moon, giving you this extra sense of being sensitive, being empathic and loving and intuitive, and also being a fierce, badass warrior. You might say spiritual warrior, because it is, Pallas Athena was in Pisces that morning you were born. And bringing that intellect, really honoring that. So one thing I'd like to do is just look at that from the perspective of your inner moon as a child. Were you honored for those things that you were a master of just by virtue of being born? And one example of that, I want to bring in one more thing with the lineage, the moon being the lineage and the south node being the specialty. So if we talk about Pisces like your tribe, you were born in the Pisces tribe. These are the psychics, the intuitives, the empaths, the healers, universally loving beings who are dedicated to being in service to spirit through helping and healing. And basically it's through infinite love. And let's see, the south node in the 9th house. So you can see the south node is in the sign of Leo, but it was in the sign of Leo for that whole year that you were born. Everybody born in your year will have their south node in Leo. So what's more specific to you is the house position. So we would call this Sagittarius job in the Pisces tribe. Sagittarius job in the Pisces tribe. So if we have that group of this loving, Kuan Yin, compassionate beings, your specialty within that tribe would have been the one who is dedicated to finding the truth, expansion, evolution, wanting to quest, literally taking your body on a quest, putting on those big boots, and going hiking and traveling and literally traveling with your whole body, and traveling through the mind, being able to study new material and learn new things, constantly wanting to learn new things. So that's the lineage. We want to see if, just asking, going back, okay, so one really good example of this is as a little young lady, being this intuitive, sensitive creature, and somebody comes up to you, say it's Uncle Charlie, and you're like, I don't want to hug Uncle Charlie, and you're like, no, and the grown-ups around you are like, come on, you need to hug him. And that's one example where that's not honoring the moon. That's not honoring the child's innate expression, where she's intuitively knowing that she wants to stay away from this person, and the grown-ups are encouraging her to go against her own nature. So just seeing if you had those kind of experiences, or however that played out. We want to fully honor the moon and fully embody the moon in its fullness. Because through honoring our lineage, we can more clean and clearly get into our rising sign. So let's look at the rising sign a little bit deeper here. You have Sagittarius rising, which is here to learn truth. It wants to know the truth, and it has to express truth. That's the number one priority. So in doing this, for every rising sign, we have what my teacher calls honest mistakes. Just like a baby learning how to walk, the baby's honest mistake is going to be to fall over, because that's part of learning to walk. For Sagittarius rising, one of the honest mistakes is getting burnt out, because in adrenal fatigue, just wanting to go, 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 quest, 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 having to tell the truth even if it hurts somebody. Like, these things are, it's part of it. It's part of learning how to do Sagittarius in your own unique way. And then, so those are some of the mistakes that can happen. And then what is this for? It is for evolution. It's for being in service to spirit through evolving consciousness, not just for the self, because it's in service to spirit. It wants to evolve itself for the greater good. It's evolving Sagittarius as an archetype. So we all have these archetypes within us. It's like you're signed up to show us all how to do that, showing us all how to be fiercely committed to truth and evolution, and, you know, at all cost. So that's the rising sign. Let's now look at the North Node. So if we can say that you're signed up to learn Sagittarius, you're in the University of Sagittarius, and you're like teacher's pet of Neptune and Jupiter. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. So you're signed up to University of Sagittarius. You are minoring in. So this is like your specialty is, you got your North Node down here in the 3rd house, which is like Gemini. So we would say the Gemini job in the Sagittarius tribe, or you're minoring in Gemini, we'll say. So Gemini, so the way that you're questing, the way that you are exploring truth has a creative, playful mannerism to it. Gemini is like a trickster who likes to dress up in costumes, go from town to town. This would be like the gypsy, whereas directly opposite Gemini, let's just do it like this. So 9th house, Sagittarius, which is like the philosopher. And then down here, North Node, what you're here to learn about, it's like the gypsy, the wandering minstrel, the creative muse who travels from city to city, having fun. And Gemini is actually in service to spirit through bringing fun, through sharing laughter and all of that creativity. So they're Gemini. They're very much similar in the sense that they are directly opposite each other. So meaning that they have resonant polarity with each other. So really emphasizing this need to be creative and completely unique. So I'll leave that there. I want to get into this. Next to your North Node, you have Mercury. So whoever is next to the North Node is, so let me also clarify one thing. So the rising sign and the North Node, that's where we're going. That's what we're here to become a master of. If the South Node and the Moon are what we've already mastered, what we come to Earth being a master of, the North Node and the rising sign are what we're here to become a master of, but it's not like there's a becoming or an ending to it. This is what we're here to evolve and to, so when we leave our body, the things that we have done, I read Prince, his astrology chart, the day that he left his body, and it dawned on me that it's not, we are not done. It's like what we leave behind as the thing that we did, our practicing in life, our practice, whatever that is, that's like where the next generation sort of picks up, and it's constantly being evolved. So don't want to make it seem like this is what I'm here to master and I better master it. It's like you have your whole life to practice at being a master of these certain things. So down here on the North Node is Mercury, who is the expression, the way that we receive information and the way that we can, filter all that information through our body and then bring that back out through speech, through the way we dress, the way we move, everything that is expressive. That's Mercury. Having that on your North Node says two things right off the bat. The first thing is that that might have been something that was super challenging, and maybe it still is. Maybe it is still is a really challenging thing. So I have Saturn on my North Node. So it's like that's the constant teacher, that's the constant voice I'm hearing, and that's the way things, it's continuous. So with Mercury there, the continuous thing would be about information, the way I'm receiving and the way I'm putting it back out. And as a little kid, possibly something that could have been there for you is being misunderstood or feeling that you weren't understanding. And sometimes these things can become literal, where we have there's a dyslexia, or we're not able to really process the information the way everybody else thinks we should. And partially the gift of that is that we are not, and we shouldn't, and it's going to be different, and it's going to be unique, and this turns out to be one of our biggest gifts, whatever is right next to the North Node, which for you is Mercury. So being able to even channeling information, because you have Mercury in Aries, and also the North Node is in Aries, third house. So possibly part of that gift is being able to, like Thoth, divinely channel information and being connected to the infinite source of information. Like, right, it's right there. You don't even have to really try. The only thing you had maybe to try was to overcome trying to fit in, because that's, I feel like anything that's in Aquarius, it's never going to fit in. It's not meant to. Okay, so next thing I want to mention here, let's look at your sun next, because Pisces sun, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, shines on the whole chart. And Pisces is consciousness itself. It is the watery consciousness, though, that depth of the unknown, the mysterious, the dream time state of consciousness, which is totally irrational. It's not like consciousness like ones and zeros that comes from the celestial realm. It's consciousness in the sense of the collective, maybe has been called the collective unconscious, collective consciousness. It's that watery realm. So Pisces sun, the way you do one thing, the way you do everything, has that sensitivity, that intuition, that, when you see something beautiful, it's like, oh, you feel it in all of your body, and it's so very felt in every fiber of you, and feeling that ecstasy of being alive and the beauty in the world, and also equally feeling the suffering and the pain, and deeply, deeply needing to heal it. There's like this big healing that Pisces naturally, I question sometimes, like, is it a trying that we need to try, or it just happens naturally? And partially by us just opening up to that and fully accepting it. Us Pisces sun people just walking in the room, we're able to sort of bring that vibe of sanctuary and healing vibe, and that infinite love, non-judgmental, accepting all the things, accepting all the way people show up in all their different ways. So your Pisces sun is perfectly square to Neptune. This is something that we share on our charts, having a Pisces sun square to Neptune. So Neptune is the planet that's most like Pisces. The first word that comes to my mind is delusional, because Neptune it's the most psychedelic. It's the part of all of us that is connected to dreaming. It's connected to those, how dreams are, where things don't necessarily make sense. Anything can happen, and it's very magical, whimsical, dreamy. And let's not forget also the nightmares and the tidal waves and the tsunamis that happen in dreams, and drowning in a ship and all of that kind of stuff is also Neptune's realm. So the sun being squared to that, we are deeply, deeply Neptunian. Very, very attuned to the dreamland, dream world, to dream. Some of our work that we come through has dreams in it. Some of the things I write, but mostly all of my book I wrote from my dreams. And it's just, I love to look back at it too, because I'm like, wow, I can't believe I don't feel like I said that. I felt like it came from this other level of information that I was just open to receiving and putting that down on paper. So that's Neptune with the sun. And there's other things I could say about that have to do with actually taking substances, because I'm not really sure about this. I'm going to say the way I'm holding it in my awareness right now, that the substance use, meaning alcohol, weed, mushrooms, LSD, DMT, whatever it is that gets us into that dream world where things are not like this. It's not like the middle world. It's like we can travel to the underworld, we can travel to the celestial realm. And I partially think that through all the writings about Neptune and Pisces, they always will mention something about delusion, always will mention something about escapism and the use of substances. My theory at the time is that our physical body, being so attuned to the dream, to infinite love, the collective consciousness, our body is there. You know, if we didn't have the program that's been implanted and, you know, whatever that, the program, if we didn't have that, possibly all of us would be a big sea of consciousness. That's just, maybe we would all be schizophrenic or psychedelic or something like that. That the use of those substances helps the mind to catch up with the body, to, you know, get the mind to have that same intelligence of interconnectedness that our body knows. So possibly that's one of the reasons and the ways that we can use those substances very thoughtfully and mindfully, and maybe to stop using them altogether once we can really get like, okay, if my mind is having its own programmed experience, how can I get my body to inform my mind more than my mind is informing my body? So just a little thought about the whole Pisces and Neptune kind of overarching idea that a lot of astrology has, that it wants to escape. I'm not so sure it wants to escape. I feel like, you know, we're psychically seeing and sensing and feeling everything and wanting, you know, how come you guys don't see this? And wanting to sort of be seen the way we're seeing other beings. Okay, so let's now look at your inner feminine and inner masculine. Oh, I'm running out of time. I want to talk about this first. So up on the midheaven, you have, let me cancel that. I'm not running out of time. I'll just start a second video. So time. All right. So here on the midheaven, you have Black Moon Lilith. I'm just now getting into studying beyond what the typical books would say about Black Moon Lilith. So the brief short story is that she was Adam's first wife and she refused to submit. She wasn't going to lay under him during lovemaking. She wasn't going to be behind him. She was like, hey, we came from the same place. We are equal. That's it. And he, you know, so she ends up leaving because she's like, I am not going to be your inferior. I'm equal to you. She leaves, then he marries Eve. And in my mind, the kind of feeling of like, okay, did you really want that? Did you really want somebody to submit to you? Or is it just that you were afraid? And, you know, so just kind of leaving that in my, in the awareness of like, okay, what does this Black Moon Lilith really represent? I feel like she represents, it's also an unfolding. So my idea at the moment is that she represents the fierce form of the feminine, who is strong-willed, just willing to show up fully as she is, hairy legs and armpits sometimes, just wild, super wild, and does not need to be tamed, doesn't want to be tamed, but knows how to when she needs to. She knows, because she is full, she is sovereign, full being. There is also a little bit of, I feel, what I sense about this is like not willing to bend. That part of us that is not willing to bend. And we were definitely not taught that as little girls. And maybe you were, I don't know, but just overall, in general, we weren't taught to be so just, this is how I want it and this is how it's going to be, or else I'll just leave and I don't even need you. So anyway, that's Black Moon Lilith, and that's up on the midheaven for you. So the midheaven is the contribution to the world, the way that you are showing up, the thing that shows up most about you. And it's also up here in the sign of Virgo, which is, I consider Virgo as the priestess, the one who is committed to the sacred work, honoring the seasons, honoring the rhythm, the timing of nature. And it doesn't have to just be of nature. It can be whatever, whatever it is that you're committed to in your contribution to the world, that it's going to follow through from the inception or the conception of that dream all the way through, even the hard, boring, challenging times, all the way to fruition. It's dedicated to its sacred work, and also has this Black Moon Lilith, just bigger than life form of the feminine, who is fierce, independent, fiercely independent. Not to say she's mean or anything like that, but what my daughter will call she calls it the black grandma who is just, and we called also the Black Madonna, that Kali, the goddess Kali. It's loving compassion. Like, they're not going to let you walk out of the house with a booger in your nose because, but they might just be like, hey girl, you got a booger in your nose, like clean that up. It's not sweet. It's not, toned down by any means. So that's up here on the top. So I really want to just say thank you so much for showing up. In my perception, I see that from you, and it's really inspiring. And ever since 1997, when I was graduating high school, that is something that really felt to me like I saw that. I felt that without knowing the words for it. It was like, yes, kind of made my own unique, weird feeling about myself be okay, because I was like, oh, all right, she's walking down the street with that turban and all this stuff. So, I can do my thing too. So yes to that. Now we'll look at the inner feminine and the inner masculine, and this is known as the sacred marriage. So the way that you use your feminine energy and your masculine energy within yourself as a whole sovereign being. And sometimes we do project it out. Sometimes we do assign the role of one or the other, feminine or masculine, out to our beloveds. And yeah, that's fine. I think it's a natural thing, but we want to know who they are, like know the archetypes, call them back in and have them do that sacred marriage within. So let's first cover your relationship axis. That is looked at from here. The first house being who am I? The seventh house being who are you? This answers the question, why on earth would I ever want to be in a romantic relationship with a beloved? For you, it is for truth, the quest for expansion and evolution, the spiritual quest or the philosophical quest. And the partner the relationship that you're in should, I don't want to say should, but that you would feel, you'll know that you're in that when you feel that you have enough space to grow, that you are being honored and adored even for your spirituality and your mind and your quest, that this person honors your quest, and maybe they're on the same quest. That I feel like would be even better, but they don't have to be. Just that they are like totally honoring that, not trying to keep you shut down and keep you too close. You need that space to grow. And now let's look. So your inner feminine, we've got extra information here. I'm going to just talk about her in this expression of Capricorn. This is the circle of grandmothers, that ancient wisdom, that womb wisdom. Capricorn represents that. She cares about the next 7 generations. She cares about sustainability, building an empire, having something outlive her. That's what Venus in Capricorn cares about. And this way that we draw things in, what we value, the way that we magnetize, it's that allure and attractiveness. That's Venus. Mars is the way we take it out, the way that we go and project our will and assert ourselves out into the world. You have Mars in Sagittarius. So this would say that your inner masculine is questing for truth. He wants evolution and expansion. We also would like, let's combine this. So over here was investigation about who are you. So we would alchemically combine Sagittarius Mars with Gemini to get a look at that beloved, that inner lover, the inner beloved that maybe is reflected in the outside as the outer beloved. So there's Sagittarius Gemini, creative, you know, the muse. He is the muse, or she is the muse, however you, whatever that, yeah, that's not. And also wants to, you know, conscious quest for evolution and expansion. So the one thing that I found really, I'm like, wow, that's amazing that your inner masculine is actually in alignment with your relationship axis. So what you are attracted to is actually good for you. Whereas in my chart, in my life, what I'm attracted to is not good for me. So there is, you know, it's a challenge, but the challenge makes me be that. It makes me become my inner beloved, where this could be, it feels good, but the thing I would want to check is like, am I allowing him to be my inner masculine, or am I allowing him to reflect back to me my own inner masculine? Because we really want to have wholeness and uniting our feminine and masculine within ourself. So I will go ahead and stop there. Thank you so much. I literally could go on and on reading this chart. It's beautiful. You're beautiful. Thank you so much for showing up fully as you and inspiring so many of us to do the same thing. So thank you.